What is going on, guys? This is the one and only Who Dat Davis here for you. And as always, if you don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. Thank you guys very much for tuning in for this episode edition of the B and G Breakdown Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being a continued supporter here over here on this podcast, this platform. It has been an absolute joyous pleasure and privilege to bring all things Saints news content to you guys and just liven up your day, even if it's just for a little bit. You guys certainly make my day just coming by and checking out my content. I did promise to have Nicole here. I don't know where she's at. I do not know where she's at right now. She's probably busy. I sent her the link. Hopefully, she'll join us here before long because I don't plan on staying here like no more than 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because this leads into what I got to talk about. If you guys were here earlier during the countdown, I put down in the chat that I have an announcement I want to make. I wanted to do this with Nicole being here, but I'm sure she's busy doing whatever, so she'll join us if she has time to join us. So before we get into everything, I want to express really my heartfelt gratitude to all of you guys for being a breakdown member, being a member of the breakdown community here at BG Breakdown Podcast. I started this podcast up over 2 years ago. The end of the first year, well, over a year and a half ago at this point. The end of the first year came at the end of last November, and we hit over 1.3K subscribers. That's absolutely insane. I did not think we would grow that much that quickly, but I should have known better when I'm dealing with the vibrancy and the love and the familiarity that comes with being part of the Who Dat Nation, the Saints Nation. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been awesome. It's been an amazing, it has been a heartfelt experience, a journey that I'm never going to forget, and I'm going to continue doing this. This isn't some farewell tour, some farewell parting gift. No, we are still going to be here rocking. We got too much content going forward in the future, both near and far. I'm going to be here repping the black and gold through the many seasons to come, right? And I want you guys there for the ride. With all that being said, though, after my announcement is this. After this Sunday's game against the Atlanta Falcons, whether the Saints make the playoffs or not, whether the Saints make the playoffs or not, this will be my last live stream for a while. I don't know how long, and I hate to do this, but for many of you guys that know my situation with my grandmother and her health regarding her lung infection and her acid reflux, I hate that. I don't know how to say it. It's been up and down, right? And it's gotten me to a point to where I'm just emotionally drained. I haven't put out a good article on League of Justice in over a week because I've had no desire to do anything except look after my grandmother, because I have no idea when she's going to have a serious moment where her health just drops to a critical state or whatever happens. And it's been taxing. It's been absolutely taxing, not just on me, but family members that are living near and far, and just being here, having to take care of her on a daily basis. I'm here having to soak up most of the emotional torture, I would say. So after this Sunday, we will do a post-game show regarding the Atlanta Falcons. But after that, I will be signing off. I will be doing community tab stuff. Don't worry about that. You will see me on the community tab here on this channel. You will see me posting on my Instagram. You will see me posting on my Facebook and on my Twitter. But in terms of doing live streams on live podcasts for a while, until I know for certain that my grandmother is in a better state in her health, I can't in good conscience just put forth live stream content. I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I have to put my grandmother first. That means I have to make some sacrifices for now, and hopefully this will be the last time I have to do this. I hate having to do this because you guys have been my rock. You guys have been my rock and my foundation for a lot of things, especially just emotional support. And I hate having to do this to you guys because you guys love the live content, and I love giving you this type of content. So hopefully I'll never have to do this again going forward after this another hiatus that I have to take for my grandmother's sake. But she is on a track to feeling better. She hasn't had much pain as of late. Hopefully she continues the right trend. because she deserves it, and I hate seeing her in pain. The amount of times I've seen her wake up in mornings with tears in her eyes, it's been an experience like none other, and I hope I never have to see it again. She does not deserve to go out suffering like she is. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But look, like I said, I will continue to post on Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook, and on the community tab. So check out all social media still. Okay, all social media handles are linked down in the description. I will be posting my latest articles of legal justice going forward on my community tab and on my Facebook and on my Twitter and so on and so forth. So check out all that good stuff. If you guys want to check it out, great. If not, awesome. You guys want to donate? If you guys don't know how I get donations, I have a Cash App that's also linked down there in the description. My Cash App, that Cash App donations go straight towards funding my channel, funding my platform. I want to get to a point to where I can sell merch. I want to get to a point to where I can have my own unique logo, my own brand. I want to get that kind of stuff going out there, and I can't do that without you guys' continued support. Some people have already donated a good amount of money, and that's how I got this desk. That's how I got this laptop. That's how I got this chair. I'm not using the chair right now because right now, as you can see, I'm in bed, and it is kind of comfy, and I'm not going to be here too long. So I figured just why not just chill here and just do it here. But I do love the chair. That's part of shaping up the experience. So thank you guys so much. My promise, it is all going towards my channel and my platform. Thank you guys so much for your understanding. You guys are awesome. But with all the sappy stuff out of the way, we're here to talk about football. So let's get to talking about football. What kind of football talk are we getting into today? The New Orleans Saints, regardless of all the negative media talk, regardless of everybody writing up the Saints, they have a chance to get into the NFC playoffs this season if they take care of business against the Atlanta Falcons and the Los Angeles Rams help out the Saints by beating the 49ers on Sunday. Well, both games are scheduled to kick off on Sunday at 3:25 CST or 4:25 ET if you're on Eastern Standard Time. So 4:25 at the latest. It is going to be an emotional day for many Saints fans alike. Because as a guy that's been advocating for the Saints continue fighting to make the playoffs, I want to see the Saints get into the playoffs. For many of y'all know why. Because of everything the Saints have gone through, from Hurricane Ida to being displaced for a month, to having your home opener in Jacksonville, to COVID coming in and wrecking shop on the Saints the week later, to losing Jameis Winston on Halloween night, to having your offensive line decimated with injuries, to COVID 2 and then COVID 3 making the Miami Dolphins game a hard thing to watch. It was a nightmare fuel. To now just having this, they still have a chance to make the postseason, to see the postseason. That is absolutely a testament to the coaching and the culture that is the New Orleans Saints. Many Saints fans I've talked to on many of all my platforms, they want us to lose and tank so we can get a higher order in the draft selection in the first round of the 2022 NFL draft. I'm not for that. I never happened for that. I never will be for that. This culture, this team can make some damage in the NFC playoffs if they manage to find their way in. They manage to get that back door into the playoffs, right? I want the Saints to continue fighting. Why in the ever-living hell would you ever want this team who has a shot of making the playoffs to tank? That makes absolutely no sense to me. Why waste what you have? You still have a lot of talent on defense. You still have hopeful prospects on your offense, and your 2022 offseason isn't looking too good because you got a lot of contracts coming up. So why not continue to fight? You can't replace all that talent you're going to lose in the offseason with draft picks. It's just not going to work. I want the Saints to continue fighting for that playoff spot. I want them to continue honoring the culture that they built up over the past 5 seasons. I want that to show in full bloom on Sunday and going forward, right? If they don't end up making the playoffs, that's fine. But if they end up beating the Falcons to get over 500, then that's still something to hang their heads up high, to hang their heads up on. Hang their heads high. Hang their heads up high. That phrase is so confusing to say. But like I said, you don't want this team to tank. I don't know why anybody would want them to tank in the first place. I mean, it's not like the Saints are going to choose the guy that we want them to draft, right? We've seen over the last couple of seasons, the Saints are going to draft who they want to draft on their board. Last year, it was Cesar Ruiz. This year, it was Peyton Turner. They are going to draft in the trenches, regardless. They're not going to go for a skilled player. They always get their gems in the second round, the third round, the fourth round. They always spend those first-round draft picks in the trenches. And this time, it's actually going to make sense because Teron Armstead is looking like he's going to be let go, potentially, in the next offseason. Now, we don't know, right? He put off having a season-ending surgery to try and help this team. Now, some speculate that could be a sign that he's going to come back on a new deal, or some can say that's just the type of man that he is. Both can be true. Both can be not true. We don't know yet. But if I'm Sean Payton and if I'm Mickey Loomis making a decision on Teron Armstead, I will let the man walk and get a new, fresh stud of a left tackle on a rookie contract and continue building your trenches because you're going to want to sign your quarterback going forward. I'm still hoping that it's Jameis. I'll get into that in a little bit. I would still want to sign Jameis and then spend the rest of your focus and attention on skill position players of need, like the wide receiver, like the tight end, like even the halfback, because, you can never have a good third running back in the later rounds. So trenches first round, wide receiver second round. I would like that because you still get a really, really good wide receiver in the second round that you probably haven't heard of. That's probably the Saints mantra. To another skill position player like tight end, to even someone like defensive line, because you got too many undrafted free agents on the defensive line, and that's not a formula for success. We've seen what happens when you don't have David Onyemata commanding the middle and gaining that interior pressure. What happens when he goes down to injury next year? What happens if he goes down to injury any point, like on Sunday? Are you going to be confident that your guys in the middle can continue the pressure to help out Cameron Jordan, who's been on a tear over his last 3 weeks, or Marcus Davenport, who's been nicked up with an ankle injury on today's injury report? Can you trust that middle, that undrafted pool to create pressure and help out your defensive ends and creating one-on-one situations? No. You need real talent anchored down in the middle of their defensive line. And that's where I believe the Saints should be looking at. They're already good in a secondary. They got Malcolm Jenkins on another deal because the thing with Malcolm Jenkins is going to cost more to cut him than it is to just – it's going to cost way more to cut him. Like I would say over close to $8 million. Close to $8 million in dead cap than it would to just wait till after a certain day, like June. Like after a certain time, it would be more to $4 million, but you're still getting more. It's still going to cost you more to, it still costs you more to cut him. Like you don't want that. So you're going to have Malcolm Jenkins for another season. Now you're going to have to deal with Marcus Williams. You're going to have to re-sign Marcus Williams because you let that man go. You better hope you hit on your next free safety. If you don't hit on your next free safety, you're in trouble. So re-sign Marcus Williams. You're going to have to find another defensive end anyway because Carl Granderson is going to be let go. And Peyton Turner's looking like a bust. I believe Tano Passing is on a 2-year deal, so he's good for another season. So you got Marcus Davenport on the 5th-year option next year. Cameron Jordan, who just had a rework on this deal. Peyton Turner, Tano Passing. Those are your 4. Okay, I'm fine with Carl Granderson being let go if you're really sold on Peyton Turner, and I'm not too sold on Peyton Turner right now because he hasn't shown you that he can be reliable. He didn't show you he could be reliable in the University of Houston. He was nicked up A lot of times there too. These things seem to carry over. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But if you're confident in Peyton Turner, you can roll with him. You can roll with Passignon, Davenport, and Jordan as your starting four, and then just build your depth behind them. Those are your starting four in rotation. I'm fine with that. Cool. The linebackers are solid. All right, you've done a good job in addressing that position. When you got DeMario Davis locked up on a 3-year deal, you've got Pete Warner on a 4-year rookie deal. I think Juan Alexander is going to be let go, but you never know. He could be a guy that they bring back. In your secondary, you got Marshawn Lattimore locked up, and you got Paulson Adebo on a 4-year rookie deal. So you got a lot of core pieces here for the Saints on defense that you have locked up. But what about the offense? What do they have on offense? Well, they have Alvin Kamara locked up. They have Mark Ingram for another season. They have Marquez Callaway for 1 more year. They're going to have to make a decision on Deontay Harris, which I believe they're going to have a rework deal on. I believe he's earned a 3-year deal. If I'm the front office, I would give Deontay Harris a 3-year deal because he's a difference maker. He's a game changer for the New Orleans Saints. I would re-sign Deontay Harris full on. A 3-year deal is worth it for that man. That's what I would do. Your tight ends, you still got Adam Troutman. I believe he's going to turn a corner next season. I do believe that. You've got Nick Van Nett still on a I believe it's a 2-year deal, either 2 or 3-year deal. You got your veteran tight end. You got Juwan Johnson coming in for another year, in his 3rd year, same as Marquez Callaway. And it's a flex tight end. You got your tight end position locked up for a while. Your offensive line, Eric McCoy is going into his final year. You got Ryan Ramczyk locked up. That's good. You got Andrews Pete. Look, we can say what we want about Andrews Pete, but after this season, I will never slander that man again. Like, ever. I will never slander that man. Because what Andrews Pete showed, at least showed me, is that he is actually valuable. He actually is I wouldn't say he's worth the money the Saints paid him for, but he is still a valuable run defender because Alvin Kamara and the run game has been non-existent pretty much ever since he left. And then injuries for the Saints offensive line just continue to pile up. I will never slander Andrews Pete again after this terrible play by Throckmorton and Ruiz. Never again. Andrews Pete, you're clear out of my black book. I've erased your name. And the most important position, the quarterback. I want Jameis Winston back because Taysom Hill has shown me he's not the answer. Trevor Siemian is just a glorified backup. And Ian Book's not going to be ready. He's still very, very green. You know, I'm not saying he's going to have an Aaron Rodgers type of career, but Aaron Rodgers sat out his first 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, before he finally got the nod as a starting quarterback over Brett Favre. You know, I would redshirt him for another season. Let him soak up as much information, as much of the game as possible. You know, and I know it can be no substitute to actual in-game experience, but you never know, right? You don't want to waste this type of talent, this type of defense, build an offense. You know, you don't want none of that. You know, wasted on a rookie quarterback because that's the biggest difference there is. And what about your wide receivers? Traquan Smith, he's got to go. I love Traquan Smith. He's a good dude, but as an individual, but as a player, I wouldn't trust him with a 10-foot pole. All right, so he's got to go. Now, that's what I would do. But I don't know if the Saints are going to bring him back on a 1-year deal or 2-year deal, like whatever they do, because that's just what they do. They like to infuriate us. I don't know why, but I would say Traquan Smith goes. Marquez Callaway is solid. Marquez Callaway is a guy that can be a really good complementary player, and he's been a complementary player during his time in Tennessee. Marquez Callaway has 698 receiving yards on the season so far. On the season. Keep that in mind. Marquez Callaway has close to 700 receiving yards. That's more than double Traquan Smith's career high in the season of about close to 460 something. An undrafted receiver is doing more and has put up double the amount of yards in one season than Traquan Smith. Think about that. Traquan Smith is good in run blocking. I get that. But so is Marquez Callaway. So is Marquez Callaway. A number 2 receiver is a guy that needs to be a really good route runner, can gain separation at the top of their routes, and have really good hands. Traquan Smith only has really good hands. That's it. He has good hands. I'll give him that. But he has no idea how to separate at the pro level, and he has no idea how to run a proper route. I have not seen such lazy route running from nearly anybody. Deontay Harris has better route running skills and creating separation than Traquan Smith. For whatever reason, Smith just doesn't like to crisp his routes. He's lazy with it, and it's infuriating to watch every time he steps out onto a field and tries to run a route. If it's not some kind of over route or some kind of shallow cross, it's like Traquan Smith just doesn't even try. And that's not good. That's not good. You need to draft a really good number 2 and then let Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris feast on number 3 and number 4 corners. Because they would thrive in those positions. That's what they're there for. They're complementary players. And I do believe they're going to get Michael Thomas back. I believe they're going to get Michael Thomas back next season because if you guys have checked out his Twitter, that guy is on demon time. He is all locked in for this year. He's locked in. And I can't wait to see him back on the field with his boys. So you got a lot of talent here still, and you don't want to waste it. So what about this year? What does that mean for this year? Let's look at this year. Let's look at what the Saints can do if they do manage to get into the playoffs. Let's look at that for a second. If the Saints manage to get into the playoffs, do I expect them to be a Super Bowl contending team? Absolutely not. I do not expect the New Orleans Saints to go out there and just win a Super Bowl. Not with the likes of Dallas and Michael Parsons, not with the Bucks and Tom Brady, but the Rams. I think we could beat the Rams or Cardinals or even the Packers. There's a lot of talent out there on offense that I think the Saints just can't keep up with regarding their offense, right? But their defense is another story. My thing is, Chris Rusvaglo from Straight Up Saints hit this on a key to a T. I want the Saints to ruin a team's season. I want the Saints to go into the playoffs and at least ruin a team's chances at going to a Super Bowl. Now, if all the chips fall into place for the Saints and they get into the playoffs with the Rams' help, the Rams are going to have to face the Saints at home. Well, the Saints are going to travel on the road to go to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Can you imagine? Just imagine how awesome that would be, or how sweet of a revenge and justice that would be if the Saints get into the playoffs with the Rams help and they repay them by going to LA and beating the Rams and upsetting their playoff hopes. Can you imagine the headlines that would just rock sports media of Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and how they went all in, getting Von Miller, getting Matthew Stafford for first round picks? Can you just imagine the headlines the Los Angeles Rams would get if they get upset at home against the Saints, a team that they helped get into the playoffs in the first place? Can you just imagine that? Can you imagine how satisfying that would be? That would be extremely satisfying if you're a Saints fan. I know that would be satisfying for me, and I would love to see that. I would love to see that. The Rams are overdue for a revenge game. The Rams are overdue for an L. They should have had an L against us the first time around. We all know that. So just think about that for a second. Even if the Saints don't go any further, if they somehow get knocked out, if they get knocked out after in the divisional round, I would be so happy still, regardless of what happens, if they knock off the Rams, a team that screwed the Saints out of a Super Bowl appearance. I would love that. Now, the divisional, they would have to go on the road to face the number 1 seed in the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are a team the Saints beat earlier this season. That was with Jameis Winston, so circumstances are clearly different. But just imagine, the Saints defense matches up really well on paper against the Packers offense. Marshawn Lattimore against Davante Adams. Alan Lazard versus Paulson Adebo. The tight ends versus Demario Davis, Quan Alexander, Malcolm Jenkins. The running backs versus the Saints run defense. The Saints defense matches up well against the Green Bay Packers offense. It will come down to, can the Saints offense manufacture points without creating turnovers in the process? Can they not commit turnovers and let the defense do its thing? That would be the key story. If they manage to upset the Rams and the Packers, like, come on, guys. The headlines write themselves. Who wouldn't want to see that? Who wouldn't want to see that? And it's very possible the Saints could get into the playoffs because the San Francisco 49ers, get this, they've had to place two of the starting defensive players on the COVID-19 list over the last 48 hours. Starting safety Jimmy Ward, and I believe the corner, another corner that's been starting for the 49ers over the last 4 games. Both of those were reported by Nick Underhill. It seems the COVID is spreading through the 49ers defense locker room, which means the Rams could go off because the Rams still have to play their starters. The Rams are still competing for the NFC West, so they cannot allow themselves to rest their starters going into that game. They can't. Otherwise, they're going to cheat themselves out of potentially 2 home games. They can't do it. They are dominant at home. They know the type of advantage they have when playing at home. And you know they're going to take advantage of a COVID-riddled defense. They're going to take advantage of it. And just think about this. The Saints, overall, got most of their COVID stuff out of the way. 20-plus players prior to Monday night against Miami had contracted COVID, which means they're most likely solid for the rest of the way if they do manage to make it. The Saints defense is getting healthy at the right time. They're getting healthier and they're getting hot at the right time, especially on defense. The pass rush has been phenomenal. I don't know what happened, but Cameron Jordan has been a monster over the last 3 weeks. I would say arguably the best defensive end in the entire NFC over the last close to a whole month. And that's how good he's been. I like that. I like that a lot. 7.5 sacks. 7.5 sacks over the last 3 weeks. He is now 11.5 on the year. 11.5. And Marcus Davenport has a chance to break 10 sacks this season with, if he gets 2 sacks on Matt Ryan on Sunday Football. If they get that, then they have a solid chance. And I would love that. I would love it. Saints fans, we can't sit here and say that you would prefer a higher draft pick when you have a chance to just get some get back on some of these other teams that are going to be in the playoffs. The Bucks, the Rams, the Packers. Hell, if they manage to upset Dallas, I'm all fine with that. I would love that too. Come on, guys. This isn't about making a Super Bowl. If they make a Super Bowl, great. That's absolutely good. That's the cherry on top. But for me, it's not about making the Super Bowl. It's about playing spoiler for every other team. It's about spoiling the Los Angeles Rams in a get-back game. It's about spoiling the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. It's about spoiling the Tampa Bay Bucks if they do manage to make it that far. Can you just imagine how good that would feel? Just imagine how good and satisfying it would feel for years to come if they managed to get over the Los Angeles Rams, get over the Green Bay Packers, get over Tampa Bay, get over Arizona, get over Dallas. It would be the most satisfying road to the potential Super Bowl you will ever find for the Saints this year if they do manage to take care of business against the Atlanta Falcons. Speaking of the Atlanta Falcons, it looks like star tight end for the Falcons and Kyle Pitts has a hamstring injury that he suffered against the Buffalo Bills last week. So it's looking like he may not even play. If he doesn't play, then that's one less problem they have to worry about. Now they just have to worry about Russell Gage and Kyle. I would say Cordero Patterson. Someone said Scordero Patterson. Scordero Patterson seems fitted because I'll give him his credit. 84 for the Falcons has been wrecking shop every time he steps out onto the field. I've never seen this type of versatility, this physicality. I've never seen this when he was playing with the Chicago Bears. Not once. But Matt Ryan, Russell Gage, Cordero Patterson, I think the Saints will do a much better job at holding these guys off. The last time they let Matt Ryan scramble all over them and keep drives alive. And then they let Cordero Patterson streak up the right sideline for a big gain when they had a chance to actually make a huge comeback and win. Paul Adebo's going to have a much better game with that said. Paul Adebo's a guy they're going to target in got to have it situations. They're going to target him. They are going to target him, and I'm just putting it out there. Another key matchup I would have to say is Mike Davis against the Saints run defense. The guy is turning into a really good pass catching running back out of the backfield. On top of the fact that he has yard, this art, this skill, whatever that you want to call it, to make yards after contact, yards after the catch. Like, it's not Alvin Kamara like, but he's shifty for a guy that's built low and wide to the ground. He's shifty. He's ridiculously strong. He got great leg drive. I respect Mike Davis's game. They're going to have to do a better job at limiting him as well. And I would have to say the defensive line is once again going to have to play a big role. If Marcus Davenport does not end up going this week against the Atlanta Falcons, then Carl Granderson, and hopefully we get some guys back off IR because we haven't seen Teno Passanio or Peyton Turner in over a month, maybe close to 2 months at this point. I want to see one of those guys designated to return off IR at some point this week because we are going to sorely need them, or at least one of them. Like, I haven't heard anything about this situation since they got put on IR. Not once. I don't know if it's season ending or whatever the case. But they need it. Like, they need one of them if Marcus Davenport is not able to go. Now they get Jalen Holmes back, and he's been a really good role player for the Saints so far, but he's no Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport has been one of the top 5, even not actually he has been in the top 5 according to Pro Football Focus. Now I'm not kidding. Go look it up. Marcus Davenport has been graded as a top 5 edge rusher for the New Orleans Saints and the entire NFL as a whole. Like, it's crazy, right? Marcus Davenport, a guy that's always been injured. Like, I will never question the talent and the potential of Marcus Davenport. He's definitely not a bust considering how he's turned the corner. This is actually his best season in his career. It's been his best season by far. He just can't stay healthy for whatever reason. He kind of reminds me of Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia. He gets this power, right? This overwhelming power, but it's just too strong for his body to handle. That's how I equate Marcus Davenport at this point. He's just too strong for his own good, and his body just can't handle it. His body's not built to handle it. And that's unfortunate because I really love his game. Speed to power. He's actually building a repertoire of techniques. That spin move against the Miami Dolphins offensive line to force a fumble is good stuff. It's great stuff. I love seeing his game this year. He's actually really turned the corner. I've loved it. I've loved watching it. Now, again, we're talking about the pass rush for the Falcons. I'm not worried about the pass rush for the Falcons. I'm not. The Falcons have the worst pass rush in the entire NFL this season. In the entire NFL. All right? Let's not make no mistake about it. They're actually ranked 32nd. They're ranked 32nd in the NFL in terms of pass rush and in terms of getting sacks. Combine that with the fact that Taysom Hill is actually starting to use his legs more to create opportunities for his arm to keep defenses honest, then I am happy for that. If he can just do the bare minimum, just not turn the football over, then the Saints have a shot to win on Sunday. Now, I don't know about what the Falcons have going on with their COVID situation. I think they still have 6 players on the COVID list. We'll have to see if any of those guys come off. I'm keeping a close eye on their situation. But I'm more interested in the 49ers, to be honest. I think the Saints are going to win regardless of who the Falcons have on the field. But I think Cameron Jordan is going to have 3 sacks. That's one. I think Cameron Jordan is going to have 3 sacks, finish with 15 and a half, and tie his season high. Tie his season high, 15 and a half sacks. That's what I believe. I think you would need 4 sacks for that to happen, but 3 is close enough. That's fine. I'll take 3 over 4 if it means the Saints get a W. I think Pete Werner is going to get at least a half a sack. I think Pete Werner's been great. He's been one of the best linebackers so far this year, and he's only a rookie. Imagine that. Like, the Saints are set up so well so far, and Ryan Ramczyk is back at practice, guys. Like, think about that. Ryan Ramczyk is back at practice this week. He was limited today, so he's on track to potentially play Sunday. Do you know how big that would be if Taysom Hill gets Ryan Ramczyk back? Do you know how big that would be for the offense as a whole in both the pass and the run game? That would mean the Saints would have their entire starting right side of their offensive line, because Eric McCoy is going to be coming back from the COVID list. Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Ryan Ramczyk, those guys have rapport with each other. And we know Alvin Kamara loves to run to the right side. So you can get Ryan Ramczyk back at least close to 100%. That can only just benefit the Saints. I want Ryan Ramczyk back on the field so bad. You have no idea how badly I want him back on that field, man. Jordan Mills has done pretty decently, filling in for Ryan Ramczyk. But there was a reason why they gave Ryan Ramczyk that big extension, being the highest paid right tackle in the league. There's a reason for that. So they can get Ryan Ramczyk back. I'll feel much more confident about the Saints beating the Falcons. The Rams are going to be looking for a bounce back performance against the 49ers. I want Cooper Kupp to light up those boys. Light them up, Kupp. Light them up. I don't care if you break Michael Thomas's single season record for receptions. I do not care. Just provide a win for the New Orleans Saints. Provide a win for the New Orleans Saints. You can have that record for all I care. Because you played 17 games and Michael Thomas did it in the 16. Keep that in mind. He did it in 16. You had to do it in one more game. I don't care. Just provide a win for the Rams. If Saints get a dub, we're in the playoffs, and it's time to wreak havoc. I'm not even thinking about the Super Bowl. Not thinking about it. I want to spoil someone else's Super Bowl dreams. I want the Saints to spoil the Rams. I want them to stick it to them and say, hey, thanks for getting us into the Super Bowl. Let us reward you by cucking you out of your Super Bowl dreams. That's the mentality I want the Saints to have. I want it to happen for every game going forward if they manage to get in and beat the Rams. It's not about going to the Super Bowl. It's about playing spoiler. If you play spoiler, then the wins will stack on themselves. I would love that. Let's not forget, as Ryan Clark here states, Taysom Hill is 2-0 against the Falcons. He's undefeated against the Falcons. Remember that. All right, y'all. We're going to read a couple more comments here, and they're going to go ahead and get up on now. I just want to rehash to everybody that after this Sunday, and after we do a postseason recap or a post-game recap, after we do the postseason game, I am going to be, I'm going to be taking a break from doing live podcasts, but I will be continuing to post on social media because my grandmother's situation, I've been emotionally drained, emotionally taxed to the point to where I just need to step back, step away, spend more time with my family, spend more time with my grandmother, and make sure she's in the right place before I can refocus the way I want to in terms of giving you guys the content that you deserve. I've been lacking lately, and I apologize. You guys deserve much better from me. And hopefully, this will be the last time that I have to take a brief hiatus away from making live content. I hope it's the last time I have to do this. Now, with that being said, let's continue with these comments, man. Let's go ahead and scroll up a little to see what we got. Who I want Jameis Winston too, big brother. I want Jameis back so badly, man. Like I'm not buying into this pipe dream that some Saints fans are trying to sell on. They're trying to sell me. I'm not sold on Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. I'm not sold on that at all. I want the Saints to get Jameis Winston back because he deserves to come back. He does not deserve to end his Saints tenure with a torn ACL on Halloween night. He does not deserve that. I want him to come back and play a full year with a better supporting cast around of Michael Thomas and a really good number two like Garrett Wilson, maybe even David Bell. Whoever you decide to get a wide receiver for number two, they have to be better than Tre'Quan Smith. I want to see him with a better tight end. I want to see him with a better offensive line. I want that for Jameis. So please give that to me. Don't tell the last thing, tasting not the answer. Hey, he's gonna have to accept it at some point. I think we need to get picks for our offensive lines. We need to build up our offensive line. I definitely believe the Saints are going to address the offensive line, not just in free agency next offseason, but also in the draft. I do believe that they're going to most definitely address it in the draft, if nothing else. John Mike B. Tre'Quan is good. No, he is not good. I don't know what pipe you're smoking, but you can pass that my way, my guy. But Tre'Quan Smith is a really good run blocker. I'll give him that. But as we've always said with Marcus Davenport, the best ability is availability. And he has not shown that he can be available for the Saints. At most, he has good run blocking and solid hands. He can make the toughest catches in traffic you'll see pretty much nearly anywhere. But he's not available. On top of the fact, he just doesn't run good routes. He's lazy with his routes. Robert Clark says 4 of the 49ers players in secondary is on our COVID reserve list. I know 2 were this week. I know it's including starting safety Jimmy Ward, but I don't know if anybody else went on the COVID list. I'll have to see for certain. Nicole is at the store. Nicole's at the store. She says she's not home yet. All right. Let's go ahead and scroll down just a little bit. What if that happens? We beat the Rams. Then we play Tampa Bay and beat them. No. If we beat the Rams, we would go on the road to face Green Bay because we're the lowest seed going into the playoffs, and the Packers play the lowest seed regardless. So if we beat the Rams, we would go on the road to Lambeau Field to play the Packers. That's how that would play out. They say Rams going cold, going to go against 49ers. The Saints will not make the playoffs. Yo, it is kind of true that the 49ers have had the Rams number for whatever reason. Sean McVay is just the son of Kyle Shanahan. He just is. I'm not saying the Rams are guaranteed to win, even though they are favored by 5 against the 49ers because of the quarterback situation between Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance having some kind of a fluke game against the Texans because Texans are the Texans. But their quarterback situation is pretty, I would say, concerning. Pretty concerning. So we'll see. I'm not guaranteeing anybody. I'm not guaranteeing that they're going to win. If the Saints make the playoffs, Sean Payton should be head coach of the year. I don't believe so. I don't believe Sean Payton deserves it. As much as I would love for our head coach to win coach of the year, I don't think it's going to happen. Because Sean Payton has lost too many games this season where the Saints should have won. And a lot of that is just due to coaching and bad play calling. The one game that stands out to me is the game against the New York Giants. Jameis Winston was on a tear. He had 11 straight completions, 11 straight, before he decided to put the ball in Taysom Hill's hands on a similar throw that Jameis Winston made the play prior, and it ended up being an interception. And they have not thrown the ball since then. Bad play calling. He was playing not to win. He was playing not to lose. He was not playing to win. He was playing not to lose. And it backfired on him because they picked on Paulson and Debo all night with no adjustments. And the Saints could have put up more points to stay ahead. But no, Sean Payton was too scared, too timid to continue throwing the ball with Jameis Winston. I don't know why. You should have continued to trust Jameis Winston after the type of performance he was having. Sean Payton lost that game for the New Orleans Saints, and that's why they're in this situation to begin with. If the Saints, I guarantee you, if the Saints had won against the New York Giants, if they won against the Atlanta Falcons, we would not be in this situation. We would have clinched a playoff spot already. We would have clinched it. We would have clinched the spot already. I promise you we would have. Or at least if we won against the Giants, all we would need is a win against, I would say a win against one of these, a win against the Atlanta Falcons this Sunday to clinch the playoff spot. We wouldn't need any extra help at the very least. So Sean Payton has called too many games where his play calling has been completely suspect, and then he just outcoached himself. He thinks he's just smarter than the average person, and it's just not them. He did it to himself. Well, the Saints play better. The Saints play better when they're underdogs. Hope they make the playoffs. For some reason, they just love playing the road team. I don't get it. It's very, very weird. It's very, very weird. But it seems to work for them, so we're not gonna question that. Not gonna question that. This is gonna be a close scoring game as it always is with rivalry. But no matter what, Saints coming out on top. I hope you're right, Kai. Because no matter what happens, even if the 49ers lose, they don't get in. If they don't beat the Falcons. They gotta have it. Our O-line got to hold up just enough to get the running game going. Getting Ramchick back is huge, but we need all the help we can get in order for us to get the W. I absolutely agree with that, and getting Ramchick back will be absolutely huge. I feel our defense shut down Falcons, and I feel our running game going to be strong with Ram back in the mix and Ingram. I absolutely agree with that. Actually, the Saints let go of running back Josh Adams from their practice squad earlier today. Either it was today or yesterday. They let go of Josh Adams from the practice squad, which is I wouldn't say a guarantee, but it's a pretty obvious or pretty strong sign that Mark Ingram is going to be healthy for Sunday's game against the Falcons. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Is Marcus Williams off the COVID list? Yes, he is. He was activated off the COVID list over the weekend. He had a chance to test out on Sunday. He didn't, but he has not been placed back on a COVID list since he's been taken off. God bless the family, PG, WD, KTG, JP, L Saint. Thank you, JT. My man, JT, thank you very much. I think it's my first time seeing you here. Welcome officially to the B&G Breakdown Podcast family. Welcome to the Breakdown crew. If brand plays are great, our line will look a lot better. They have 2 DBs coming off IR. This is true. If they win the Super Bowl, Sean Payton will be Coach of the Year. I think Coach of the Year is before, but we will see. I will read a couple more. We're going to get up on out, so go ahead and keep those comments filing in. Sean should already be Coach of the Year, just making the playoffs in general. I mean, I can see where you're going. I can see where you're going at, but you have to be consistent, right? I know other outside circumstances have affected the Saints between COVID and injuries, and Sean Payton is still keeping his team in contention to make the playoffs. I get all of that, but when you're looking at a team like, I don't know, like Matt LaFleur is having a really great coaching tenure with the Green Bay Packers. Or what about Cliff Kingsbury? What about Sean McVay? Uh, these other teams out there that are just Jim Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens. There are other teams out there that I feel like just have a more compelling case than Sean Payton for Coach of the Year. And that's not saying Sean Payton is not a really good coach. He's probably going to be making the Hall of Fame after he retires from coaching in the NFL. I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. I just think for this year, Sean Payton has outcoached himself and lost games he should have won because he thought he was smarter than everybody else in the room, trying to do too much, trying to overcomplicate things. And Sean Payton, if Sean Payton did not lose those games, then we would be having a different type of conversation here. But at this point, it is what it is. Trust the Payton. I trust him. I definitely trust him. I love your response. It is over, Stan. I appreciate it. I try not to monologue a little too much because I can monologue at times, but hey, it happens. You know what I mean? The coach from the Bengals might get coach of the year or Kingsbury. Or, you know what? That's true. I forgot who the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals is. Won games we shouldn't have also. Well, the Saints are oftentimes winning games they shouldn't win. But they have a hard time winning games they should win. You have to win games you should win to make a compelling case to go along with the games you are not favored to win, right? The Bucks were heavily favored in Sunday night against the Saints. The Saints won 9-0 without even scoring a touchdown. The Saints beat the Packers, right? So this team is capable. They are very, very capable. But they lost too many games they should have won. At least 2 games. Maybe even 3 if you count the Tennessee Titans. That's the Giants, the Falcons, and you want to include the Titans in there, you can make a case for the Titans. But it's 3 games Sean Payton has lost that he should not have lost. Right? It's all on him. He's doing too much at times. He's egotistical, by trying to outcoach himself. When something is obvious, it's not a trick. You don't have to look too deeply into it. And that's why I believe he's just not going to win Coach of the Year this year. And I appreciate all you guys that are so strong. I feel so strongly about Sean Payton winning Coach of the Year. I think he would. I wouldn't be mad about it. Like, don't misunderstand me. I would love it if Sean Payton won Coach of the Year. Because at some point, the man's going to deserve it to go along with his future Hall of Fame career. But just for this season, there are just too many other coaches in the NFL that have made a more compelling case over Sean Payton. Official Yanola, what's going on, brother? This is going to be the last comment before we get up out of here. We're coming up on an hour long, and I honestly did not expect to go for an hour long. I expected to keep this for like 20 to 30 minutes. That's just you guys, right? You guys are just keeping me engaged, and I love that. Time just flies by. It absolutely flies by. So thank you guys so much. Let's read this last comment here. We're going to go ahead and get up on out. Say, bro, who are we drafting? Olave, Jameson, or Wilson? I have no idea. For whatever reason, I have no idea. And that's just, I don't know. The Saints haven't drafted a good wide receiver since Michael Thomas. Like, at all. I don't get it. I don't get it with this team, dude. I don't know. The Saints are unpredictable. Like, I thought last year they were going to get an edge rusher like Jalen Phillips or Odafe or Kwity Paye. I don't know. I want David Bell. Personally, I want David Bell. I would love David Bell because David Bell has the best route running with a wide catch radius, strong hands, and he can create separation at the top of his routes. I would want David Bell. That's who I'm rooting for. Now, between Olave, Jameson Williams, or Garrett Wilson, if I was to be a betting man, one of these 3 is not like the other. And that one not like the other is automatically ruled out because the Saints just don't like drafting from Alabama anymore. Now, for good reason, recent track record of drafting Alabama players hasn't worked out. But if I'm a betting man, I would say Garrett Wilson. If I had to choose between these three, like if I had to choose between the three, I would pick Garrett Wilson. I believe Garrett Wilson is faster. He's coming out of his breaks better than Chris Olave is at this point in their respective careers. And that's not to say Chris Olave is too far behind Garrett Wilson. I would be very much happy with Olave. Wilson or Olave would be fine because they're Ohio State Buckeyes, and you know how productive Ohio State players are for the Saints. It just for whatever reason it works. But I would want Garrett Wilson over Chris Olave because, like I said, Garrett Wilson creates the most separation. He's just stronger. He's a stronger receiver with the hands and in a wider catch radius. He'll make those tough catches. He'll make the tough blocks in a run game like you want him to. I think Wilson just has more of the tangibles that Sean Payton wants in his receivers for his offense. I would want Garrett Wilson, but I would definitely not go wrong with Chris Olave either. Tim Dunn says unknown defensive end. True. Probably. But let's be optimistic now. Beat the Patriots, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay twice. I mean, true. Like I said, all those, well, with the exception of the second Tampa Bay game, all those games were for when Jameis Winston was under center. And Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston are two completely different quarterbacks. But we'll see. You never know. It's any given Sunday at this point. Any given Sunday. But that's it. That's all for right now for this edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown Podcast. Nicole was out. She wasn't home. I got the text. That's why I looked away for a second. But that is why we did not see Nicole. I wanted her to be here so bad because I really miss my co-host. I want her here no matter what for the post-game show. So I will do my utmost to make it happen. God damn it, if I have to drag her here, I'll make it happen. But I want to give you guys Nicole because I want my co-host. And she deserves to know what I'm planning on doing after the post-game show. She deserves to know more than anybody. Do we say goodbye to Malcolm Jenkins and Jonathan Young safety? Absolutely not. No. I'll say that right now. No. We're keeping Malcolm Jenkins for the next season. I'm saying that right now. No. But thank you guys so much for being a listener, being a supporter, being a watcher of the Black and Gold Breakdown Podcast. I will see you guys Monday for the post-game show between the Saints and Atlanta Falcons. And no matter what happens, if they get into the postseason or not, that post-game show will be my last one for a while. You guys have been an awesome blessing. I will still be posting on social media. I will still be posting on my community tab. I will be posting on my Twitter. I will be posting on my Instagram. I will be posting on my Facebook. So please continue to support all my other social media handles. All those are down in the description below. If you guys want to donate, please consider getting Cash App. Cash App is very easy. It's simple to use, and it has very low fees. Actually, probably the lowest fees I've seen on a money app in a while. Not compared to Zelle, compared to PayPal. Cash App is actually pretty useful, pretty handy, and it costs less in terms of fees. So consider getting Cash App, if not for your board, and for your everyday needs. I recommend it to y'all, and y'all can recommend it to your friends. Just use it whenever. It doesn't have to be donating to me. So consider that. Get rid of whatever you're using in terms of money apps, and consider getting Cash App. It's much worth it. I guarantee it's worth it. Thank you guys so much. And as always, it's Black and Gold until we dead and cold. Much love to you guys. Much love. Thank you guys for the hopes and prayers from my grandmama. I'll make sure she gets your well wishes, and I'm sure she will be very, very grateful to know that she has the entire support of the Who Dat Nation at her back. I'll see you guys on Monday for the post-game show.